As soon as Devin Hart's name was read aloud, the tension in the room turned. It wasn't just the stuffy courtroom air at East Bridge Civic Hall. It was the silent charge in Judge Rayburn's stare. Cold, surgical, like a scalpel about to make its cut. Devin had watched two others, one a pale-skinned teen in joggers, the other a rumpled man who smelled like gasoline, come in late without consequence. The judge had even laughed with the second guy. But Devin? No such luck. He wore a sharp gray blazer and calm on his face, and that seemed to offend the judge even more. Rayburn leaned forward on the bench, his knuckles blanching as they gripped the gavel. His eyes drifted over Devin's clothes like they were an insult. Watson like he's above it all, the judge thought. Needs a reminder. You're late, Mr. Hart, Rayburn snapped. His voice was dry but seething. Should we rearrange the court's entire calendar to suit your elite schedule? He deliberately mangled the last name, Hurt, instead of Hart. Devin didn't react. He stood tall. My apologies, Your Honor. It's Hart. I was detained finishing a federal case. Time sensitive. A federal case? Rayburn scoffed into his microphone, loud enough for everyone to hear. Let me guess, sorting out a lost parcel at the post office? A few sycophants in the front pew chuckled. In this courtroom, Rayburn said, now rising slightly from his seat, my time is law. Your lack of respect has a price. He paused, letting the tension build. Contempt of court, $850. Devin blinked once, slowly. $850 for being 10 minutes late to contest an incorrect property tax that nearly forced his grandmother out of her home of over half a century. All because he'd been finalizing a racketeering charge against a hedge fund tycoon. This wasn't about tardiness. This was a message. Your Honor, Devin said, his voice unwavering. If I may explain, the gavel struck hard. No, you may not. Consider this a costly lesson in manners. Rayburn turned to his docket. Now, what insignificant complaint do you have for us today? Devin inhaled, measured and slow. When he spoke again, it was with the full clarity of someone who had nothing left to prove. It's regarding a sudden 33% spike in my grandmother's property taxes. No notification, no justification. Just done. He opened his file. Rayburn waved him off like a fly. I'll review it when I have a moment. Right now, we're discussing your contempt. With respect, sir, Devin said, voice tightening slightly. The delay was unavoidable. I was concluding an indictment under the RICO statute for the Justice Department. Rayburn's eyes narrowed. You think throwing around federal titles earns you a free pass? No, Devin answered calmly, staring him down. I believe in rules. I enforce them, which is why I need to ask, are those rules being applied the same way to everyone who walked into this room today? A hush fell like a curtain. A stenographer paused, fingers frozen above the keys. Rayburn's face turned blotchy with heat. Are you implying bias, Mr. Hart? I'm asking for clarity, Devin replied evenly. So every citizen here knows they're standing on equal ground. The gavel slammed again. This is not a debate. The fine stands. We're done. Devin gave a short nod, collected his documents, and walked back toward the gallery, every eye on him. An older man near the back gave him a long, knowing nod. Outside, the sunlight hit hard. This wasn't about a tax bill anymore. Devin didn't dial his supervisor. Not this time. He turned and walked back through the courthouse doors. Judge Rayburn was shuffling papers, thinking the show was over. He looked up, irritated. The court is adjourned, Mr. Hart, he barked. If you have business, you'll need an appointment. Devin stepped forward. I believe introductions are in order. He held up his badge. Devin Hart, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Southern Division. 10 years prosecuting civil rights violations and organized crime. Rayburn's face drained of color. The delay. Devin continued. I was signing off on an indictment targeting corporate racketeering. While I waited, I took notes. Not just of your treatment of me, but the other latecomers. One laughed with, the other ignored. And then he held up a notebook. Your pattern of selective enforcement. Based on race. It's documented. Rayburn's mouth moved, but no sound came out. If you wish to contest this, I'm sure the Judicial Oversight Panel would love to hear your side. And if not them, then the U.S. Civil Rights Division. Rayburn wilted. "You may go, Mr. Hart." Devin turned without another word. That night, he sent an encrypted report to his division head, Teresa Lang. The next morning, her voice was on the line. "Devin, I read it. This isn't a bad day. It's a crisis. We're initiating a full review." She paused, then added, "Start digging into his rulings. I want you holding the match when this ignites." Devin dove in. Case after case revealed the rot. Non-white defendants fined up to 4 times more for the same infractions white ones walked away from with warnings. Then came the break. The commission sent agents. Quiet, efficient. A nervous court clerk named Mrs. Laney unlocked a drawer and handed them a battered spiral notebook. Her eyes were glassy. "I have a son," she whispered. "Every time he punished someone unfairly, I saw my boy's face. I couldn't pretend not to see it." The notebook was a bombshell: dates, quotes, outcomes. A shadow log of judicial prejudice. Officer Daniels, the longtime bailiff, backed her up. "Been here 20 years, he muttered. "Watched it all. Knew it stank. Glad someone's finally lighting the fuse." Meanwhile, social media caught wind. A law student in the gallery posted a blow-by-blow of the confrontation. It exploded. Thousands of shares. Hundreds of personal stories followed, each one worse than the last. One mother's story went viral. Fined $1,000 for a broken taillight while driving her sick son to chemo. The judge's only comment? "People like you always have excuses." The press descended. Federal prosecutor alleges racial bias in Eastbridge courtroom blared across headlines. When Teresa called again, her tone was grim. "The numbers are catastrophic. Your report triggered something bigger than we imagined." He's finished. Devin was summoned to the emergency session of the Judicial Board. Rayburn sat at the long table, flanked by stone-faced elders of the court. Across from him, Judge Marla Rowe, chair of the board, slid a thick file across the table. "This isn't a misunderstanding," she said. "It's systemic. It's disgraceful. You have 2 choices: resign immediately or face a public hearing, criminal referral, and likely federal prosecution, led by Mr. Hart." Rayburn folded. He signed a resignation with a trembling hand. His fall set off waves. The municipal courts underwent full review. Officer Daniels was asked to lead training for new court staff. "Our job isn't to punish," he told them. "It's to serve. You see injustice, you say something. Silence is complicity." And thus, the institution began to heal. Devin Hart didn't just take on a corrupt judge. He cracked open a system that had long relied on silence. What began as a personal battle for justice turned into a sweeping reckoning, one that exposed the quiet cruelty hidden behind courtroom formalities. In a world where power often shields itself with procedure, Devin used truth as his weapon and accountability as his mission. His courage didn't just remove a biased man from the bench. It forced an entire institution to confront its reflection. The whispers of injustice had echoed for years. Devin made them impossible to ignore. Now, Eastbridge's courts are changing. Not because they chose to, but because one man refused to let them keep pretending. And somewhere beyond the paperwork and hearings, in a home that almost slipped through the cracks, an elderly woman still has her house. And her grandson gave her, and countless others, a reason to believe again.